Why do global software engineering? Globally distributed software engineering is not easy. Adding distance to software engineering makes it more difficult. The first recommendation on global software engineering is therefore to really consider whether you need it or not. If you don't need it, then don't do it. Nothing is as effective as having a couple of people on the same location working directly with the business owner, solving concrete problems and directly adding value. Nothing can beat that. We are social species, so working together with close interaction in the same room, that's the best. Always. We can talk a lot about the challenges of global software engineering. But still, there are a few good reasons to do global software engineering. Let me discuss the 5 most important ones. The first one is access to scarce knowledge and expertise. In many countries, there's a shortage of skilled people. So if you can't find them locally, look globally. When you start to consider global software engineering as a serious option, then the world becomes your workforce. So you have the ability to hire around the globe. The experts, the really good software engineers, now become an opportunity for you to hire. You can get the best programmers on your team if you're willing to work distributed. Getting skilled people on board is the #1 reason for global software engineering. Scarcity of good people with great expertise. Adding the best to your team from all around the globe. The second reason is that working globally can make you faster. It gives you the opportunity to use the advantages of time zones. When people are in different time zones, they can also work when others are sleeping, as such increasing the time to market. Of course, there are some challenges, but there's a good opportunity to take advantage of time differences. You can't, for example, report a problem with a software product at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, go home, and in another time zone people will work on it. And when you arrive the next day at 8 in the office, all problems are fixed. That's an example of taking advantages of time differences. The third reason why global software engineering is interesting is because of potential lower development cost. There are a lot of countries, especially in Asia nowadays, where the salary costs are significantly lower. This can be an opportunity. There are people there that have great expertise, good education and significantly lower salaries. So you can decrease your cost. Of course you have to transfer the work, but still there is this opportunity. One warning. There comes also additional cost with working distributed. As such, the whole cost needs to be considered, and there is a large risk to simplify the possible cost reductions. Most companies that start with global software engineering for cost reasons alone generally do not realize the reductions they expected. The fourth reason to think about global software engineering is to have a low geographical distance to customers. Put your company on driving distance to your customers. Customers like to buy from suppliers that are close. If there's an issue, they can travel easily. It also becomes easier to build a personal relationship with customer. It is much harder to establish a personal relationship with someone who's thousands of kilometers away and a couple of time zones. With a 15 or 30-minute drive, it is much easier. So, to strengthen relations with customers, global software engineering can be helpful. Putting up an office in an area where you would like to do business with makes sense. And because of that, apparently, you start to work globally. At least, you start to work distributed. The fifth and final reason, not originally driven as a benefit, but a very important one, is that companies grow because of mergers and acquisitions. When a large company takes over another company in another country, you cannot simply move these people to your own. They stay there. They have families and friends. And even if you insist on moving that office to your own country, probably only a few will actually move. The others will most likely look for a job close to their home. So, mergers and acquisitions, historical reasons, are also an important reason why companies start to work globally. It's not a direct benefit, but it is an important reason. We previously talked about the work of Eran Carmel, where he gives some challenges for global teams that make it harder for them to work. He calls them centrifugal forces. Carmel defines 5 of them. He says that due to distribution there is a loss of teamness. People feel less tied towards each other because they are not in the same location. There is a coordination breakdown. which means that it becomes much harder to coordinate the work when people are distributed over the globe. There is also a loss of communication richness. Telephone, Skype meetings and conference systems have a lower information bandwidth. It is harder to read between the lines. It is harder to catch the non-verbal messages. So the communication becomes harder. Due to geographical dispersion, it is more complicated to travel, to meet each other and talk. And finally, Carmel's fifth centrifugal force is cultural differences. Due to differences in norms, values and expectations, there may be more rework, misunderstandings and sometimes even structural conflicts. At the same time, Carmel defines sixth centripetal forces. Forces that really help to overcome the challenges. Forces that help in attacking the centrifugal forces. They are managerial techniques, collaborative technology, a good telecom infrastructure, a product architecture that is supporting distributed work, and team building practices. And of course, the sixth one, the development methodology. Short iterations and an agile methodology really help to overcome several of the challenges of working distributed. In fact, there is a GDSE paradox in global software engineering. It's important to see that on one hand you would like to do global development and on the other one you don't. What you see is that the larger software engineering efforts become, the more people you need to put together. The more investments you do in software engineering, the more important coordination becomes. So, large-scale software engineering depends highly on coordination. But at the same time, if you do software engineering at scale, you will start to work on multiple locations. We simply cannot put the people in one place. And more locations makes it even more difficult to coordinate. So, there is this enlarging aspect between the two sides of scaling software engineering. On the one hand, we need more coordination when it becomes larger, and on the other hand, we are setting it up in a way where it's harder to coordinate due to distribution. And I think that that is the main challenge for global software engineering. The challenge is that when things become successful, you start to scale it up and become more dependent on coordination. However, the solution of globally software engineering already is challenging in coordinating it from itself.